All right, here we go. You can start saying good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Wake Up Everybody virtual community. This is day 287. I am your facilitator, Cashel Campbell. It's my pleasure to be here. The topic I'll be talking from today is Christ and Crystals, Spiritual Awakenings, Revelations, and Healings from a Christian Intuitive Medium. So happy to be here with you this morning, this Monday morning, as we getting ready to close March and step into spring. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Take your time coming in. Don't run, don't rush. Just gently glide in on this, what seems like it's going to be a sunny Monday morning here in New York. For the session this morning, I am asking you to bring your whole self, your whole ears, your whole heart, a journal, and something to write with. Doesn't even have to be a pen or a pencil. It could be a crayon. um, if you're feeling like tapping into your youth heart, but something to write with, a journal, and your whole self. We'll be using that journal in the very beginning. Good morning to everyone checking in on the chat. Good morning to those on Facebook. So lovely to see you. Lovely to have you. Again, my name is Cashel Campbell. This is the Wake Up Everybody Virtual Community Day 287. I'm going to be facilitating today's discussion entitled Christ and Crystals, Spiritual Awakenings, Revelations, and Healings from a Christian Intuitive Medium. That would be me. There's no one else coming and flying in behind me. So happy to be with you. I am a in process licensed dance movement therapist, psychotherapist. I'm the owner of Feel Heal Dance, which is my spiritual practice and psychotherapy practice. I am a spiritual intuitive healer and an advanced Reiki healer as well. So wonderful to have you. So wonderful to see everyone this morning.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
Unmute Cashel.
Yes, welcome. Good morning. Good morning. So lovely to see all of your faces. I am really excited about this conversation. We're going to go ahead and jump right on in. Um, and I'm going to honor um, the time that we're together this morning. And hopefully, as other discussions we've had in the past, this is just the beginning to a longer conversation. Um, So what I want to do, and to begin this talk today, I want us to just take a few minutes, literally like maybe 3 minutes. I wanted 5, but let's take 3. For us to just take our journals and take some paper, and I'll give you the topic, I'll give you the prompt, and you're just gonna write what comes to your heart. Try to leave your mind out of it. Just free flow right from your chest, and then we'll come back and we'll rejoin. I'm just gonna put a little bit of music on. So just get your journals, get some paper, pen, pencil, crayon, however you can record best your inner world and inner thoughts inside onto paper. And we'll be back together in 3 minutes. So go ahead and take some writing time. The prompt is God. That's the prompt. 3 minutes writing time. And that's our time. That's our 3 minutes. So wherever you are, I invite you to take a moment and pause that journal entry. And please go back to it if you need to. Journaling is something that I think we are so blessed to be able to express ourselves in more than one way, and we come up with something different every time. And then yet we still find ourselves in each way that we express ourselves. And so journaling is just something that allows us to see ourselves in a different way and hear from ourselves in a different way. So again, I'm Cashel Campbell, and we're talking about Christ and crystals. And this topic came up for me because, wow, I became a born again Christian back in 2000, the first time I was a teenager, but I didn't know what I was doing. I think I was 14. I used to go to Christian Cultural Center, CCC, before it is what it is now in Brooklyn. This is on Linden Boulevard. And was going to church every week, like a lot of us have grown up doing, and just, felt this. I guess I felt the spirit. I guess so. And I went up to altar call, and I did so. I believe it was actually on my birthday back in the 90s. And kind of walked with that consciousness in my mind for many years, and then um, had a real attitude about God and Christ for a minute. Really wasn't clear as to why this Holy Trinity deserved all this credit. And I had, I make no mistake, I had no qualms about feeling that way. Still honored and respected the fact that there was a God, but definitely wasn't like, I'm not bowing down to something. First of all, something I can't see. And second of all, why do you get all the credit? I'm the one doing the work. And really had that going on for quite a bit. And life and circumstances brought me, which we will discuss this topic again going forward, but brought me to a very humbling place where um, I would say my ancestors, my guides, and more prominently for me, that divine Holy Trinity kind of chased me down to help me humble myself and understand who I was called to be. And by this happening brought a certain set of people into my life who have begun to help me navigate and understand myself as a Christian person. And I think so many people, and specifically within the Black diaspora community, where it relates to religion and Christianity, there's a lot of feelings there. There's a lot of reservations. There's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of lack of understanding. There's a lot of non-explanation. And so, in the authenticity of me growing as a healer, which that's something that has been placed as a gift on my life, um, being a truth bearer is something that's just not going to go away. And I remember first coming into my Christian community at the church that I would say found me, and having that kind of grudge on my shoulder, like, well, great. Once I open up and tell these folks that I dance on poles for fitness and performance, or I dance on poles and I use it in my therapeutic practice, or that I practice Reiki, or that I do yoga, I'm already prepared to be judged, and my community, my beautiful Christian community was like, sounds great to us. I'm excited to see how God's gonna work through you in these ways. So I have my body all ready, really for nothing. It was my own need to confront what I thought was not permissible underneath that Holy Trinity. So being a Christian has taught me how to be in relationship with the trials of my life. And it's taught me that imperfection is corrected by Jesus, it's corrected by God, it's corrected by the Holy Spirit within me. And that all that I face is a living sacrament of that holy act of sacrifice. In other words, when I'm met with understanding the embodiment of pain, because we can't leave that, because pain is where life is at. Everywhere we go, every change we go through, pain is there. There's also acceptance, there's also wonder, there's also humor. All of these gifts are in our trials, but when we're not covered underneath that holy way of being, in our own understanding, in our own ascension, in our own relationship with blessing, we look at these things as, why me? We may get bitter. We look at where I'm recognizing your message, Shawnee. Thank you so much. We look at these things as negatives, and in actuality, as we ascend and we grow spiritually, it's positive. Our spirit needs ascension to view them as gifts, and without the ascension, we're stuck in the ego, and we're living life on this loop of grunts and bitterness and chips on our shoulders. And we think this. So many of us have walked through. I don't need God. I don't need that structure. I don't need that way of being. But wherever we fall into when we talk about our faith and our spiritual practice, helplessness and surrender is going to be there, no matter which road you decide to take. And so it's just getting in relationship with that vulnerability. Um, I want to be able to communicate with the community, and I know our time is short, but here's the things that I wanted to talk about as we unfold and develop this conversation. crystals, the use of crystals and stones, I know is something that many Christian people look at as some kind of warlock activity. you know, what I've found in my journey is that everything that's here on earth has been given to me by God for my usage, but it's also divinely been taught to me that it's not my place to make objects more important than what I and who I pray to. So it doesn't say that I can't be in relationship with crystals and stones, and that's great and everything like that. But as a Christian person, I need to know that that's not, I don't need to pray to my quartz, because I understand that there's a power inside me that's connected to what I can't see, that's greater than me and the quartz, right? So there's not this, you can't touch stones. I've got stones on my windowsill right now. I value their property. They are gifts to me from the Holy Spirit. They're gifts to me from God, from my usage, our usage. But again, it's all about properly placing it. You doing Reiki, it took me a while to understand that when I do Reiki with clients, I have always said from the very beginning, I'm working under the divine trinity of God, the Holy Spirit, and Christ, and I'm moving that energy through me within this Reiki work. And when you look at biblical reference, there's many places and spaces where Christ healed people with his hands. And so I believe the gifts that Christ has, he shares with his children. And so Reiki is another area and another space where I have found God in there, being an intuitive. As I was writing in the journal prompt about who God was to me, I was like, he's a master intuitive. Of course, he gives his kids gifts of clairvoyance and intuition and psychic ability and all of that stuff. But there's a thin veil in our life spiritually, and we must know where we're being spoken to from, because um, non well-intended spirits also can speak in those realms. And if I'm not covered and I'm protected, I don't know who's speaking to me through me or who's bringing what to me as well. um, Yoga is another place where I find that a lot of Christian people are, you know, not really comfortable, because it creates this what the idea. It dawned on me the other day. I was like, are they thinking that when they call out the names of the postures that somebody's praying to something? They're just telling you what posture you're going into. It's okay. You can take Shavasana. You're not praying to anybody, right? So many other things. There's many other things. This is a longer conversation. And in total transparency, I don't feel how I look this morning. I'm not feeling 100%. And so I want to be able to honor and respect that for myself. And I'm not going to be able to talk as long, but I do want to open up to the community while we are still in the community and just hear thoughts, feelings, and any feedback that anyone has about these things.
I'll open up and share, and it's about the same community, two different viewpoints. So when I entered the last organized spiritual community that I was in, a large one, how I have come to be the way that I am, which is eclectic about my spiritual practice, was based on them exposing me to the veneration or the honoring of ancestors. I walked on fire at the church, which is a practice that I think is part of Eastern. Well, it's probably part of multiple cultures, but it was a Baptist church technically, and I'm doing air quotes, but it was very, very African centered, and then also culturally centered. So I experienced my first sweat lodge, and then many thereafter, and that's a Native American or First Nation practice. And the folks there were trained to be fire keepers, and sweat lodge. I don't know what terminology to use, but they were trained to do that by First Nation people. So that was great. And I opened up. They were also big on anti-racism. So I learned about who I was as a Black woman. So all of this stuff. And then I reached a plateau and stayed 3 more years, but it was just like, I need to leave this community, but felt like, oh my God, what's going to happen to me if I leave? What's going to happen to me if I don't practice specifically around Christianity or Christ, Jesus being the conduit for my salvation? And that same church, some, not everybody, but leadership was just like questioning my beliefs and operating like I was wrong for doing what I was doing. Not everybody, but certain people that I'm just like, but I learned this from you, you know. So it was very confusing, and it was a hard decision to make or choice to make, but I released it and my life has been transformed. Nothing bad there, but I just reached a plateau. And then when I reached the plateau and then I released, my practice started to open up my spiritual gifts and my intuition and my ability to experience messaging from ancestors and spirit and then share them with other people. So it was a blessing, but it was hard to leave. Yeah.
I really thank you for sharing and opening that up. I mean, I think what I'm hearing you say and what I think so many people experience is this idea. Like, I'm gonna take it to the side real quick. I remember when I first started, I was a belly dancer for many years. I performed, I taught, I had a really prominent career with belly dance in New York City here. And I remember stepping into that community with I was vulnerable and I really wanted to connect to women in a wholesome way. And I thought that that was the place. You know, I'm like, well, we're all here. We're all coming from this divine feminine and yada, yada, yada. And I got into the environment and it was vicious. It was vicious. 90% of the women that I entered it into, I was floored. I was like, wow, here we are and trying to encourage women to love each other and love your body and that was the farthest thing that was going on. And I think so, I'm just saying to say, I think wherever human beings dwell in multiplicity, there's the opportunity for harm. And I think sometimes when you look at church and religion, you know, we come with our vulnerabilities as human beings and we're looking for safe havens and safe places. But going back to what I had stated before, and this is for so many people, that um, just because something is dressed in an outfit does not make it what it represents at all, right? And that there are, I believe strongly, very many negative spirits within churches, within religion. But what the place that I really want in this conversation to come from really speaks to what you're sharing, Shawnee, about that personal aspect of growth when it comes to my seed formation, because we all have that seed formation. Um, we all have an intent that's on our life that we can design. We can design it, or it can be designed on us. And how do we get ourselves to a place where we're open to be receptive to that? One thing my faith practice has taught me, which is not sexy, is about obedience and about truth and about hearing and about not speaking and about what it means for me to be obedient on the call for my life versus what I want, versus what I think is best, versus because you know, I recognize working as a therapist, ego is always running, always moving, always dipping and diving, and ego is reflecting our brokenness, our seed formation pain. And so my ego can trick me into thinking I need to become and I need to do. But it's rest assured in my work and my practice and my growing and my learning, that I'm so grateful to have grown into binding with a God that thinks for me and knows for me and opens for me and takes all this pressure off of who I think I need to be and gives me the liberation to be who I am, which I hear reflected in what Shawnee is sharing, is that our walks are individual, they are precise, but I guess if I'm being completely transparent, I think that I care more about the hurt that people have experienced when it comes to God. I care more about that because I think that when we have hurt and we turn away from something, it can be very damaging. And that maybe all the baby and the bathwater maybe didn't need to go, but maybe the disconnection from certain communities and people needed to go so that you can really get involved with who your seed person is and finding guidance for that. I see Teresa has her hand raised, and I'm seeing some words in the chat that I'm going to read and just try and catch up on.
Yeah, and we're here to support you, so you don't have to work your brain too. So it's up to you. But Teresa, if you're ready to share, please unmute.
Yes, hi. I just want to thank y'all for this conversation. I actually came on late, but I came on at the right time. This is so healing to me because it's something I dealt with all my life, and I just feel like being home with God has gotten me a lot more healing than any other time of being in a church. And I was in a church recently, and I felt like Spirit said to me, you're not going back, and I was like, what do you mean by you're not going back, But then later on, that week I understood why. But it's like I've been dealing with facing myself this week, this past week, just left, and I had some hard stuff I had to face, and it really, like threw me for a loop. But I'm glad that it happened because it let me face some stuff that I had forgotten about. I just buried in the back of my head. But in going through it, I like last night I did a live for my jury, and I was able to express how I was feeling, and in doing it, I was able to operate and be someplace that I never, like I was so vulnerable in my life that I was speaking to people for like about 20 people, 20 minutes, almost 20 minutes, just talking to people about the journey where I was at. And there was such a freedom that I didn't care that, I was trying to sell my joy, but it was like, that's what needed to be said at that particular time, to like say, hey, like stop hiding and saying that you're okay when you're not okay. That actually was actually the real message. And so I was able to say that, and so many people, were saying, I know someone was saying things, and they sent hearts, whatever, but it's just a freedom to know that here you are saying the same thing, is that, how you have these different gifts to use these different things, like being part of the wake up just changed my whole life about seeing, my ancestors, knowing, about just even honoring that. It's like we honor David and Abraham and all those people, we never honor like my mother, my grandmother, my great grandfather. And someone actually attacked me because I was honoring, my ancestors. But those are the people I know. What David, I heard David and all of them is in the Bible, but my grandmother and who brought me to where I'm at. It's like when I was dealing with I'm stopping. When I was dealing with when I had to go see the cancer doctor that time, I said, I want my ancestors to come and go with me, to the hospital. And I actually felt like they were on my back that day. And I can't explain how that happened, but that's how I felt. And so just acknowledging all those different things and learn the different African cultures and the different things about different, religions and culture. This is where I'm at today. A person that's walking in healing, and walking in healing. And so it wasn't a regular, convenient, the church thing, like the regular going to the church and all that kind of stuff. But it was just being at home and being with people that really wanted to honor, the spiritual awakening of, whoever that they wanted to serve. But I just came in line with love and peace. And that's how I got here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresa. I know the time is at 7:29. Shawnee, is it okay that we go over a little bit? I know I said I was stopping at 7:30, but here we are. Spirit is flowing through me. I'm up. I put my makeup on, so let's go.
Yeah, I leave that up to you, beloved. You did say how you were feeling, so wherever you want to go, we're with you, okay?
Here we are. We're not going nowhere.
I
So,
say.
Teresa, thank you so much for what you shared. And you're bringing me to a thought process that I wanted to also share. Working in the healing space is interesting because there's so many people within the space that are not at all similar to the church, at all invested in lifting anybody else up. There are so many people in the alternative healing space who are interested in being front and center. Their collection plate are their workshops and their marketing and bringing people in and all this kind of stuff, but they're not really interested in raising you up. And so I believe strongly that the conduit of positive energy, of higher, of ascension, of of righteousness, this push that happens within us when we start to delve in and dig down and allow ourselves to lift up and open up. There are many assistants on that journey. Do I believe that ancestors assist on that journey? I do. But I also believe that every ancestor that I call on does not come in love. Every ancestor is not someone that I can trust. Matter of fact, there's some ancestors that are in um, who are in working power with what I will call the enemy, what the enemy's intention is on my life. There's some ancestors who are worked and linked up in there. So I need to know who I'm talking to. And I remember working with a woman. I won't mention her name. She's a prominent priestess healer in here in New York. Um, and I remember her being. I went to work with her because I was so this ancestral business was so heavy on me. And my family's Caribbean. I'm like familiar with certain things and all that. But I just didn't want anything to do with it. And I was like, no, I'm good. I don't know who you are. I'm not wearing white. I'm not going to the water. I'm not chanting anything. It's not happening because I don't know. I don't know what that's about. And so, and over time, situations occurred where oh yeah, and you know, oh yeah, specifically Yemaya, Oshun, Obatala. They like I had no connection to none of that. And here they came and made themselves well known, well prominent, well seen in dreams through people. And and it floored me. I was like, whoa, what is this? And to a point where I really couldn't run from it. And so I started to do some divination homework. And I went and I thought I found a person who could kind of guide me in the right direction and sold me really well. And when I get there, this person is more concerned with me claiming to have certain gifts and wanting to find a way to silence me until she could feel that my gifts are actually real. So this became an ego story for her. And here I was in my vulnerability trying to find out, like, wait a minute, I'm just trying to find out who Overtaylor is. what am I supposed to, So what I learned there, it didn't take me long to be there and spend my money and decide, nope, if they came to me on their own before, they'll do it again. Whatever I need to know, I will find out. Just being conscious about how you allow yourself to be led and knowing that what is called and what I as well call the covenant is such a divine experience. It is as unique as your name. And my concern is when I see people like, we all seen the Jehovah Witness, and I'm not getting on the witnesses. They knock on doors or we see them on the corners and yada yada. And I know it feels persistent and but I know the heart of what's happening inside their experience that may not be articulated is the concern for I want my people to understand that that covenant is so sacred and so special and does not need to be abandoned for what human beings may have stepped in and came and disrupted. That covenant is your inner compass. That covenant is your cleanser. That covenant is your cover. It is your protection. I remember there was a point in my life where I was dating and it became so clear to me. I said, after another failed relationship, I said, you know what? I need to start asking who sent you because the devil and the enemy knows what my desires are. He could dress them up. He's gonna give me exactly what I manifest. Sure, I can get that from here, but is it connected to my seed and what's intended for my being is the question. And how many times can I, in my own leadership, put myself and my body in the place of sacrifice because I think I know what's best? How many times can I not have a deep conversation with myself about non-obedience? Listen, the obedience piece is a deep one because we all think we know. We all think we know. And so many of us have the story of needing to go through struggle, needing to know this, I'm indebted because my ancestors, no, wait a second. So now you're telling me somebody who passed and left got a debt on you to pay. Well, if that is the case and you're made in love despite the circumstances that you came in with, what is that about? What is that about? What where are we picking up some idea that I'm indebted to anything that came before me, and here I am in your newness. We all come through the same way, clean. We come through clean. We get wiped off clean. So it's many things. It's many things. But Teresa, thank you for bringing up that ancestral piece, because again, I think many people in our community and others, we run to this ancestral component, and I have my ancestors up, and those are the ones that I know and met in my life, and they're in my home as pictures. But then there's some ancestors who crossed over who were sexually inappropriate with me as a child, who were male. I don't have them up in here. I'm not angry at them. I love them because we're seed connected, but their spirit needs resolve, and it won't be in my home. So I'm not going to just open up my life to ancestors. Who are these people? You know, and just being just as inquisitive and seeing that, again, just because, some of the people who are wearing white and tying their head, and all right, that's cool, but there's a lot of those same spirits in that space that you have that are default and defected in the church too. It's not about people. People are broken. People will fail you. People are imperfect. My dad always told me when I was growing up, don't you ever have faith in anybody. And I used to be like, damn, that's cold-blooded. Like, really? Nobody? Not even you? Not even me? Because I'm imperfect. Straight up told me just like that. I'm imperfect. I will fail you. And depending on how you receive it, you'll understand that imperfection is acceptable in the sight of Christ. That imperfection is preferred. We're not perfect. We're never going to get there. And there's something very humbling and warm about that in terms of how we relate to one another, and delve in something our community needs so much, is the understanding of compassion, deep compassion, not only for ourselves, but for other people, for the people we break bread with. I go back to thinking about the dudes. I remember when I realized the whole "who sent you" piece, I remember thinking, this is a lot for a meal. I'm breaking bread with a man who has the worst intentions with me. Why am I sharing wine with you? You don't even mean me well. No, I'm not going on a date. I'm good. No, 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 thank you. No, thank you. I'm not that hungry. I don't need to sit across from you and break bread with you while I'm eating food thinking I'm being nourished, and you're plotting on my demise sexually.
Mhm.
You're plotting on my demise mentally. So, it's just all these things.
You have a few
Yes,
shares in the chat, so I want to make sure that
sure.
we bring, so you don't have to work so hard too.
And at the same time, I'm all excited. Now I'm revved up and
Yeah,
I'm like,
right now, you're like, I'm talking. So let's see. Going back into the chat, Mika shared, there is science that back the benefits of crystals. Our computers, cell phones, indeed work because of quartz. Everything has distinct energy uniquely to itself, and I will add, including us.
yes,
I feel like we carry crystal energy within.
yes, yes.
Let's see. Cherry was sharing about her journey. Let me go back to her statement. Why can't I see it? All right, oh, she was saying how she's been there in reference to spiritual communities. I think the share was about um you mentioned the belly dancing and discovering the women and their descent, and that disconnect, and not necessarily being safe in that environment. And then overall, any spiritual and community where folks are present, and I say that all the time, where people gather, there's conflict, there's chaos, it's just human nature. It reminds me of Lord of the Flies. They all come together. They got the conch. Then somebody ends up dead. Like, and these are all little boys. It's like, wait a minute. Drama ensues wherever people gather, whether we intend it or not. Kathy said, I had no religious training or influence in my home. I attended a Catholic school through high school. It never felt right to me, and I just started searching to find my own way, my own understanding by way of researching other religions, other cultures. So you were a seeker, Kathy, even from young. Beautiful. And I'm curious about, like, what have you found? Wendy, her post came to me only, but I'm going to read it out loud. It's for everyone, but it was an accident. So I have always been a seeker. Oh, I just said that. Okay. Which led me to study metaphysics. However, when I was saved and baptized into the Christian faith, I put all that I learned in the back burner. I'm now getting back to my spiritual walk and away from religion. Um, and Kathy said, I'm not bound by a particular religion. I have my own understanding. And let's see if there's anybody else. Charmaine, oh, I'm sorry. Mika said again from Facebook, my ego will never be obedient. It has one job: to survive. Love will always guide me to be obedient, to live in truth. And so, you have commentary, folks saying that's deep. Sahu Speed talked about, and I want to speak more about this too. Maybe this is a whole session, Cashel. But she said, yes, you have to ask, who are you? Meaning the ancestors. What is your intention, even to the ancestors and also to the intimate partners we invite in? What I find, I'll read this last piece and then, we can continue. What I find is that all of it, like, I'm a magnet for all of it. The shit that shows up that doesn't serve me, the shit that shows up that does serve me, I'm giving off energy and vibration, unconscious, conscious thoughts, conscious thoughts. So whoever I've been in intimate partnership with has come based on where I was at in the moment, that moment in time. And just owning that and being responsible releases my desire to make myself a victim of what has happened in the relationship, whether they cheated or they weren't emotionally present. I'm like, something going on with you still that is manifesting that. So I'm like, not just like, who are you and where you came from? It's like, what's going on over here with me that I attracted that? Charmaine said, I was just recently told that burning sage is witchcraft. I've also been told that spiritual practice is not of God. And then finally, Zakia, I learned a song in my elementary school choir called One God. At that time, I only knew about Christianity and its many forms and Judaism. The song resonated with me, and over the years, it became my philosophy as I learned about so many different schools of thought. I practiced several forms of Christianity into my early 20s when I learned about Islam and was drawn into it. In terms of religion, I consider myself Muslim. However, I consider myself spirit guided, and I receive positive growth and energy from wherever it comes. I discard whatever doesn't feed my spirit. All right. So, Cashel.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited that all this conversation is so necessary, right? To me, there's no right or there's no wrong. I want to be very clear. My relationship, my holy trinity, as far as I'm concerned, religion borrowed that from what I'm talking about. I'm not in a religion. I am in a divine covenant with that trinity. And so I think first getting liberated from that was the first bit. That Christianity is actually not a religion. It is a way of being. It's not a religion. A religion is that, something that's more titled by certain rituals, certain Baptist, Pentecostal, what you can do, what you can't. To me, religion has more human elements to me than covenant divine elements. I'm not interested in what religion does, because I realized that my worth is not something that's created by anything that humans can create. My value is not, my value cannot be manufactured with this by anyone. My value is coming from on high. And so, because I now know that, it took a long time to get there, and I'm still reminding myself on days where I don't feel so great. But That's not manufactured by anything a human being can do. It is impossible. And so I think that our desire for a community and space, yeah, we need people. We need to love on people. We need fellowship. That's what makes things go around and all of that, right? But one of the things about obedience and humility that's really impacted me and just, it continues to floor me. How many times I find myself at the cross, surrendered down about my ego and what I think I know. It is so humbling. And even when it comes to your point, Shawnee, where you say, yeah, I could ask who sent you, but then I have to also look at what's inside me. Yes, this is true. But there's also a quality of that that puts me and my ego and my, what I believe is my strength, as the responsible party for all things that come my way. Then where do I get a reprieve? Where do I get to lay my care down if it's consistently me looking at me? That's very important. Self-awareness is it. I'm with it, right? But also believe strongly that that divine space that holds us all can carry loads that we can never carry. We were not meant to carry the burden of understanding every time we're hurt, where's the reflection? We're not meant to do it. That's a release. That's the surrender. We talk about when, places in spirit, and then God talks about surrendering, lay your burdens down on me. There's certain things that I can't fix it. I cannot fix it. I'm aware. My brokenness when it comes to, I'll be transparent with you all because this is a journey that I'm so excited that the Lord has brought me to honesty and openness about. But I was able to verbalize it in detail, my experiences with sexual assault and abuse, and liberate myself from holding that in for so long. I've told family and friends that I never told the world publicly, and I did that. And it changed me. And I think the thing that really let me understand how powerful God was and is in my life was that I can't fix that wound. I could surrender. I can cry about it. I could tell the story, but I can't reverse that. I cannot. My hands are too short. There's certain areas in our life, we may like it, we may not, that a divine higher, the only one. And I know that it's important for us to have our own unique way of being. But I do also want to invite that harmony is one of the things that I admire most about what God's brought into my life. Peace and harmony. What that really means is that getting under that one accord ties us all together. Sure, we can have all these unique ways in which we express ourselves, but what concerns me at times, like I was going back to that point when I see missionaries and stuff like that, I get it. I get the heart of what's going on. There's a deep concern. The expression may be a little off. I'm not knocking on nobody's door, but leave a flyer. But it's the concern that as unique as we are, we're also nothing at the same time, from dust to dust. And there's a humility in that nothingness that is so comprehensive to our true growth, and really understanding that. And so much to the fact that I don't need anything. I just could surrender it all down. I could take the crystals away, the candles away, take the incense. You can take everything from me. But I have that structure that's right here that allows me to know that I'm still divinely connected, and I'm still divinely um, in unison and in one. And everywhere I go, I can meet someone who's connected to that divinity. I just came off of a trip. I just turned 40 last week, and I came off of a trip for my birthday. I turned 40 on March the 12th. I took a tour to Sedona on the 13th. We almost got into a life altering car accident on the trip. I believe strongly, thank you very much for the birthday wishes. I believe so strongly that the hand of God was on me. Not only because we didn't, but because when it happened, I'm a very sensitive person. Anxiety catches me quick and all that stuff. I would have had sweaty armpits. You would have thought I was taking a nap. I sat there and I said, it's not going to happen. That's not going to be the introduction to my life in my 40s. No. And we were able to get around it. And and I was telling my best friend yesterday, I said, yo, what is that? A different level of faith. I've never experienced that before. But that walk is just, it's so profound and it's so deep. And I'm looking forward to us continuing to have this conversation. And so, what I want to end with, two things, is that I want everyone who's participated today to continue to thank you for all the birthday blessings. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. Um, I want everyone to ask themselves, what is your Holy Trinity? Doesn't have to look like mine, but what is it? What are the three? That three that's my number. I love three. I'm third child. I'm born on the 12th. That's three. My first address was 66. That's 12. 2 and 1 is 3. 3 is all in my life. But that 3 is what gets us here. People are trying. There's still no other way to get human beings here. It's 3. 1, 2 comes 3. So that mimicry is all within our lives. And so I just want you to ask yourself and write about it if you can. What is your Holy Trinity? For me, it's my conversations with, outside of the structure that I've already shared, Christ, God, and the Holy Spirit. It's also my conversations with God, primarily, movement and dance and meditation. Those 3 things are my Holy Trinity. Those 3 things are the complete representation of how I'm able to be myself. The other thing I want to share, as we will continue this conversation, is I want to encourage those who feel like, if anyone is on this call and they're irritated by anything that I've said, I'm so grateful for your presence, because to me, where there's irritation, there's content and there's passion and there's something more there. And so if there's anything that's like, no, I'm not in it, and I'm looking for this note that I wrote so I can read it. I want you to give yourself an opportunity to ask yourself, like, who God is, like, what is this? Let me take away everything I experienced. Let me take away all my interactions. But do I know God through word of mouth? A lot of people, I know for me, for a long time, that was, God was a word of mouth being to me. It came from my family or what people taught me, that it's not a word of mouth relationship. It's a one-on-one relationship. So asking yourself, what is your Holy Trinity? Asking yourself, how do you familiarize that? The divine God, Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, whatever. How do you familiarize that? And the last thing I want to share, because I didn't get a chance to share this, and we will talk about it again in more detail, but astrology and Christianity, which, again, if someone's just joining, Christianity is not a religion, not to my spirit. That's not what I have been informed. Christianity is a walk and a way of living. That's not a religion. But I believe that astrology is something, because everything that's here, I believe, has been given to us. Spirituality to me is our toys. A parent gives their child toys. They wait till Christmas. They give them a bevy of toys. We don't even have to wait till Christmas. It's all here. Numerology, all of it. We could play all day. But for me, I'm realizing and wanting to offer that playing all day is not the same as a divine institute of where those playthings come from. And it can help me learn more about myself. But with astrology in particular, it came to my spirit a couple months ago. I believe that astrology is a very gentle way for us to work with our flaws, in the same time work with our triumphs, because the descriptions are very polarizing. And so for those of us who have an issue with being able to see where we have issues, go look at your chart. A couple of Virgos, super meticulous. It's a commonality. Leo, super ego. Pisces, which I am. Completely rose-colored glasses and unrealistic. Yeah. When I really learned what that meant, I was like, oh, snap. It's not the cute, send it to me no. It's deep soul work. Like, oh, I'm programmed in a level to see the world this way. And it's a flaw because if I don't get in touch with it, those flaws will take me to places that weren't intended for me. So I just wanted to offer that, right? That, again, I know a lot of Christian people or religious people will be like, oh, um, it's witchcraft, and the people who go into that, they don't have an authentic relationship with their spirituality. So I've learned to impart compassion. I can't judge them. They weren't given that. They weren't given the opportunity to know that you can be spiritually free and know God at the same time. And in the reverse, there's many people who are spiritually free. I don't want anything to do with God. It doesn't need to be this polarizing relationship. They actually work together if you can give yourself an opportunity to see it that way.
That's
So
true. Yeah. So, Trinity, thank you for that and asking folks to declare what it is for themselves. Never heard that before. And it's a liberating uh, question or to answer and to contemplate like what that is for us. For some, it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. For some, it's the maiden, the mother, and the crone. I see Nefertiti put in that her Trinity. Where is that Nefertiti? I know your ancestors were in their meditation and oh, okay. God within me, my bright and well ancestors and spirit guides, libation and meditation. Um, I wrote spontaneous flow and creative flow, my ancestors as well, and the vibration and energy of my intuition all work synergistically for me to get clear. My Holy Trinity, let me see. Wendy said, God is to me whatever I need to fulfill my divine purpose. Father, provider, husband, protector, friend, and guide. Um, and Martine wrote, I am in search
can
of.
may I
Okay.
read Martine's? Is that
Oh,
okay?
sure, sure. Yes.
Yeah, because I feel it in my heart too. Martine said, I'm in search of God. I feel betrayed by the idea of God because I thought I knew him. I strayed because of enlightenment of who shaped this idea, murderers, manipulators, and liars, using God as a weapon of mass destruction to control, pillage, and conquer. If this is of God, God is not in me. Let's be clear, their God is not in me. So who are you? Where are you, my God? That is so, Martine. Thank you for what you just shared. What you shared is the vulnerability of many people. And that's what you shared is exactly the space that I'm talking to. So thank you so much. And I have deep compassion for what you've experienced. I'm your sister in understanding what you've experienced. You are correct that the God that you're looking for is not in relationship to these descriptions. And this is why I say, don't let the Lord be a word of mouth relationship. Go find out for yourself. You may go, you may find nothing. No problem. Whatever. Go find out for yourself. Religion is a word of mouth thing. Fellowship and community is not that. Fellowship is the gathering of people who have been in the divine walk. And in there, we don't have time for judging each other. We don't have time for that because the time is about is it's so much fever going on for what's been corrected, what's been drawn out, what's been shown to me. What if I thought I had some gifts? I didn't give to myself those gifts. The being an intuitive, a medium, being a clairvoyant, and all that stuff. That was prophetic hand of God on me. It's an anointing on me. It's not for me. That's for when I sit down in front of clients and patients and people that I'm here to serve, for me to be able to tap in and speak words of light and godly love to them about their path. Speak healing into where they're going. Speak freedom into what's been deemed as shameful. There is such a divine calling on all of our lives. Martine, I thank you so much for that clarity. because you represent, it's not just what you did there is a representation of exactly what's coming out of my mouth. You are speaking not only for yourself, but for the hearts of many people. And I want to reassure you here, as a woman who is a Christ knower, that is not who God is. And those people, I'm happy that you separated yourself from them, because they're not here to support you. Be careful of the words of people that come out of people's mouth. It's their heart that defines who they are.
Awesome. So thank you to all for this powerful conversation. And we will clearly need a part two. There's more to share. And I love how spirit works. It's like, oh, you think you're going to be here for 30 minutes and be out, but there was another plan. Spirit at work is all co-creation. So we are going to move into the closing slides. I'm going to post the special offer. That's exciting. And let's see what happens with that, Cashel. Because with all this conversation pumping and the energy that's flowing, I'm sure folks are going to be chomping at the bit for you and the special offer that you have. So take it away, sis.
Yeah, sure. So I have a special offer for one Wake Up Everybody community member. Is going to win a 2-hour spiritual counseling session with me. It will be divine. I say that in humility, just because it's warm and loving to commune and speak truth to power, and provide space for honesty and healing. I love what I do and what God allows me to do. And so I would love for the first person who emails me, who is interested and wants to commit to that process, it must be redeemed within 30 days, meaning that if you decide to email and try and be the person to win this, we need to make the appointment within those 30 days. So my email address is, it's going to come up, but it's contact@cashelcampbell.com. So yes, contact@cashelcampbell.com. First person to email me. And and be the first person to win that 2-hour spiritual counseling session. We will be in touch, and it will be meant for you. And I really want whoever's going to email, I really want someone or people who want to do their work in relationship to this topic. That's who I'm looking to be able to support. And if you email and you're not the first person, I will still be in contact with you, and we'll talk about how we can possibly work together going forward. My contact information, I'm on Facebook. My Facebook page is Feel Heal Dance. I'm on Instagram @Feel Heal Dance. That's my business page. And at Layers of Cash is my personal page. It's a lot of fun and sass that goes on over there. I'm on Twitter as Layers of Cash. Again, my email is contact@cashelcampbell.com. And that website that's on the bottom, disregardthelayersofcash.com as a website. My website is feelhealdance.com.
Shoot, I messed that up. Sorry, boo.
Okay. No worries at all. No worries.
All righty.
feelhealdance.com. Coming up this week on Wake Up Everybody, join us on Tuesday, March 23rd for 9 Principles to Handle Your Mind on a Dime, facilitated by Rev. Nyamo Nancy. And join us on Wednesday, March 24th, 2021 for Cutting the Cord Full Moon Edition, facilitated by Chantel Gamble.
All right, let me make sure I take us back where we need to go. All righty. So family, if you are here for the first time, whether it's Facebook or in the Zoom room, we encourage you to come back every day. We say hit it, but don't quit it. Don't make this a one-time affair. We invite you to register and to utilize that information, which we will share in a little bit, to join us on Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday from 7 to 8:30 a.m. or Monday from 7 to 7:30 in this space of Zoom or Facebook if you cannot come into the Zoom space, because sometimes folks are on the go, on the move, and they need to make a different choice, but they're still present and participating. And if you're on our Facebook page, you can watch the playback. So if you are new to the community, please post in Facebook, let us know who you are. And if you're new in the Zoom space, please do the same. I just mentioned the schedule. Here it is in a more structured way. So Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, 7 to 8:30, as was shared, and Monday and Wednesday, as you know, today is Monday, but we went longer because the community called for it and the conversation was so juicy that we needed to remain in the space to complete. Well, we're really not complete, but we invite Cashel to come back so that we can continue this powerful exploration of Christ and crystals, and just being present to who we are as spiritual beings and what our journeys are, and the multifaceted ways in which we serve and honor and exemplify the God within us. So, family, so excited to declare once again that we are coming upon our 365th day of awakening with the Wu Nation. Our first year anniversary is on March 29th. It's hard to believe that a year ago on March 29th, we had our very first session, which I was the facilitator of. I think I talked about leaning into loss. That was the first session that was done, because we were losing freedom. We were quarantined. People were dying in our families and in our extended community. So I did that session, and then we just kept running and flowing from that day forward. And here we are in day 200 and 87. Just on this journey of love, light, expansion, and ascension. So please do reach out to your friends and family and invite them to come in and party with us on the 29th, so that we can, have others that recognize the power of this community and can join. We want a full house. We want to, have our dancing shoes on, our woo swag. And Zakia, I got your message, so I will respond to you about your message and your swag that you are waiting on. So let's do this, family. Let's create the space for us to enjoy one another and celebrate this major accomplishment. Whether you have been here a week or you will have been here by Monday, all 52 weeks. For some, it's been a beautiful blessing, and we thank you for your co-creative energy. Also, what else did I want to say? It's on March 29th, once again, from 7 to 9. So it's not a short day. It's a 2-hour extended session so that we can party hardy and reflect back on what we have created as a Wu Nation. Here we are with the swag. So utilize this bit.ly tag so that you can get into and purchase your swag if you haven't done so already. So swag is what we wear, as a representation of being part of the Wu Nation. And whether you once again been here a long time or a short time, buy the swag, be ready, wear it on the 29th, and be ready to rock and roll and party and amplify the energy of wake up everybody. Woo woo. So bit.ly/woo swag. You can utilize that to purchase and shop online. So here we are at the completion of this session. Not the end, because we do stay in touch energetically and vibrationally. Want to invite you to post in the Facebook neighborhood. That's what I call it. Post in our neighborhood and share what you got out of today's session or this week's sessions if you haven't posted. I think I saw Teresa's post, was it yesterday, speaking about Jezebel, because we had a conversation 2 days in a row. We're talking about, stories, Christianity, how we get to be, how we need to alter the way we've been miseducated about what that energy is and what those teachings are, and bring our own beliefs and vision about them. So thank you, Cashel, for amplifying that again. So please post on the Facebook page so that we can have activity in our neighborhood. I say sit on the step and talk to your neighbor by posting. So stay in touch, register for this week's sessions. Today is Monday. Yeah, so we have the rest of the week to go. bit.ly/wake up movement. Facebook, join the page, bit.ly/Woo Community, Instagram @Wake Up Everybody Virtual, YouTube, bit.ly/Woo on YouTube, and email us if you have ideas, suggestions, testimonials, which we would love to share, or things that you think that we need to work on, info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. So now that we are complete with this, I'm going to take down the screen share and invite us to celebrate and honor our beloved sister Cashel. Let me take the spotlight off her, even though you deserve it, so that we can see the gallery and everybody's wonderful face as we say thank you. So come on, family, do what we do.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Cashel for
Thank you.
doing
Thank
good
you.
work.
Have
a great day, everyone.
We really appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
Fabulous.
Happy belated
Thank
birthday.
you.
Very thought provoking.
Full of everything happened.
Thank you.
Very
Yes.
inspiring.
That was
Thank
thank
you.
you so. I'm
And
happy to
let's move
go.
forward, everybody.
Oh,
Timely.
you saying hello too? You saying hello too?
Wow.
What I needed to know.
Especially with
Wishing
well-being
you well too.
especially.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Love
everybody.
you, love you,
And
love
y'all
you.
have a blessed day. And I
There
love
is
y'all.
You
healing.
too.
What number week is
in
this,
the
Shawnee?
This is week 52.
Move
We
forward,
love you.
everybody.
What number week was this?
52.
53.
52. Next week is 53.
If they're,
This is
oh, that's
250.
right. Yes. Okay.
Today, what today? So you
Oh,
can give this,
today it's
so
287.
you can give the money today.
All right.
But they didn't say what that was.
Oh, today is not a money day, but you can definitely give.
Oh, it's not a money day. Okay.
No, but however, you can give every day is a day of abundance. So anybody who wishes to give can give.
So you don't just put the number on it. Okay.
Yeah, wait, no, you can't put the number on it. Let me tell you in a second. Cashel, what's the number for your session, love? You know it?
7, I think.
67?
All right, let me
287.
look.
287,
It
I
is
think.
287. It is 287.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Love you all.
Love you.
Have a great
Love you.
one. Peace and
Thank you,
blessings.
Shawnee. Thank you, admin team. Love y'all. Love y'all.
Love you
Thank
too.
you.
Love you,
Thank
love
you.
you. Thank you.
Love y'all so
Thank you,
much.
Charmaine.
Mwah. Mwah, 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 mwah.